Hi, I am Guillermo Villaseñor, and this presentation is for my Psychology Class 512 at Liberty University, Advanced Social Psychology, Week 8, Applying Social Psychology. Social psychology can be described as the scientific discipline that pursues to comprehend the environment and the origins of individual behavior in social circumstances. Therefore, in this context, social psychology seeks to establish the behavior of an individual in the presence of other people. In social settings, human beings will utilize feelings, judgments, views, and intention when interacting. After the World War II, social psychology was greatly utilized, and it seems to be a bridge between sociology and psychology. Social psychologists have turned their attention on aspects of interpersonal relationship and the way in which the study of psychology can be used to improve these interactions. Several studies in social psychology have indicated that social sway, social insight, and relations impact both individual and group conduct. While some segments of psychologists study human behavior, others have focused on the practical applications in courts. How misinformation can affect the memory and linking the developmental experience to later effectiveness. Application of social psychology in courts. Globally, there has been a rise in criminal cases ranging from murder, rape, sex crimes, which draw attention from the public. The fascinating trial in a different courts has seen the application of social psychology where questions of reliable confession, eyewitness, and how the court arrived at its decision have been asked. Even though there is an evolution in police departments in empowering police to establish whether a suspect is lying or not, many questions have been raised on how the effectiveness of court system is issuing a judgment. In investigation process, eyewitnesses are interviewed and suspects are interrogated for evidence which is subject to social influence leading to bias and error. However, the process of acquiring evidence from witnesses have heavily utilized psychology in the perception of crime, storage of information, and retrieving stored information. The ability of perception varies from one individual to another. People are prone to forget and remember instances at a different magnitude. Research has shown that distractions in social settings can inhibit the ability of perception. Witnesses in courts have faced difficulty in estimating the distance during a crime, and this has led to inaccurate evidence in the court. The emotions of the witness during the crime are said to be unstable, hence the level of perception is significantly low. However, alcoholism has been found to be the leading impairment of eyewitness perception and memory. On the aspect of memory storing, research has shown The eyewitness can be compromised when subject to after-event information. Finally, when trying to testify in court, an eyewitness is supposed to identify a possible suspect. Culprit identification is an exercise that can lead to innocent persons suffering at the expense of real suspects. The confidence of the eyewitness in the court have resulted in the positive identification of culprits. Perceiving the crime. Some kinds of persons and events are more difficult to perceive than others. Common sense tells us that a quick glimpse, bad lighting, long distance, physical disguise, and distractions can all limit a witness perceptions. In one study, for example, Rod Lindsay and others had approximately 1,300 participants observe a target person outdoors at one of various distances ranging from 5 meters 16 feet to 50 meters 164 feet. They found, first, that the witnesses were not accurate at estimating distance, and second, that the further witnesses were from the target, the less accurate they were at identifying the target in a lineup shortly afterward. Research has uncovered other aspects of the witnessing situation that can impair accuracy. Consider the effects of a witness' emotional state. Often people are asked to recall a bloody shooting, a car wreck, or an assault. Emotional events that trigger high level of stress. Testifying in court. Eyewitness can be inaccurate, but that's only part of the problem. The other part is that their testimony is not easy to evaluate. To examine how juries view eyewitness testimony, Gary Wells, Rod Lindsay, and others conduct a series of early studies in which they staged the theft of a calculator in the presence of unsuspecting research participants, who were later cross-examined after trying to pick the culprit from a photo spread. Other participants, who served as a mock juror, observed the questioning and judged the witness. Overall, the jurors overestimate how accurate the eyewitnesses were and could not distinguish between witnesses whose identification were correct and those whose identification were incorrect. How misinformation can affect the memory. According to the research done on human beings, misinformation has led to the distortion in human memory. False information can be obtained when an individual will be subject to misinformation after a traumatic event. Memories from traumatic events are extremely susceptible to alteration by exposure to misinformation. The alteration of memory information has been attributed to misinformation effect, which is the error that occurs during recalling. The misinformation effect usually operates on person's external environment. Furthermore, exposure to misinformation results to people recalling things that were not present in the original setting. False memories are usually created when an individual is convinced that the false event is possible. convincing the individual that the false experience was a personal experience, and creating a false memory, with the details manipulate feedbacks. Linking developmental experience to leader effectiveness. Managers' exposure to formal developmental programs, challenge related to job development and developmental administration have a direct consequence on the manager's effectiveness in leadership. Several studies have shown that official and casual developmental involvements correlate to leadership efficacy through social procedures. While seeking to improve leadership effectiveness in prescribed development programs, off-the-job training and educational events are heavily recommended. However, formal developmental programs can be ineffective when an individual faces significant developmental challenges. The effectiveness of a leader is more evident when one is faced with challenge. During job performance, a manager is motivated to solve issues that are affecting the business, hence learning the skills and having the capability of solving problems when identified. The connections between leadership effectiveness and leadership development activities can be challenged to managers. The difficulty in establishing activities that can enhance leadership effectiveness is the main challenge affecting the mentors network. The outcome of leadership results in heavily linked to the quality and the size of individuals' network mentors. The level of attainment in job settings have results to varying efficiency in leadership. Conclusion. An individual behavior will be influenced by the social interactions existing in social environments. The human memory has the power to perceive and store information, but this information is distorted by misinformation. Leadership in organizations can be enhanced by social cognitive, building managers' leadership capacity and cultivating leadership talent in the organization. Questions. Question number one. Social psychology is not just about looking at social influence. Social perception and social interactions are also vital to understanding social behavior. What does the Bible say about social behavior? Question number two. What makes social psychology different from folk wisdom, personality psychology, and sociology?